Hey, shalom, shalom.
Mhm.
First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to
Yahweh,
Yahawah,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahawashi,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Rakakadash.
Rakakadash, and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect. All right, it's the brother Atazawam, and I got the brother Ali Ashai with me.
Shalom.
And, just through the spirit, we were just, just linking up, coming, into the end of the Day of Atonement. And, we just wanted to, just go. We was having spiritual conversation, of course, and just speaking about, the various different things that's going on in the earth, and how, it's all showing, right, that hey, we don't got much time left, right? There's not much time left in this world, right? So really, this world don't got much time left because we we actually gonna have all the time in the world. But the quote for where I got this title from, which is a quote from Xi Jinping, right? And he said this during the
Summit.
the summit, right? The SCO summit. You just said this yesterday between I think him, Russia, India, North Korea, a bunch of other
Iran.
Iran. A lot of different countries. Basically met up in China.
One NATO country, Slovakia.
Oh, yep. Met up in China, to discuss them doing business more so with each other and going away from the Western hegemony. And that Western hegemony is headed by Babylon the Great, America. So you have a lot of tension, right? Financially, economically, right, militarily, that is happening between the so-called West and the so-called East. And what he said in one of his statements when he was giving his speech was that we're at a time. Let me see if I can pull exactly up what he said.
I have an article with it.
Khan, he says the world faces a time of turmoil and transformation. Okay, so it's funny. I just said that. You got some small hats just walking by right now.
You can see him.
Yeah, but hey, and that's that's really the transformation that the world is facing, right? Because those people that claim they are the people of the Most High, right? They're being ousted, right? They're being revealed, as the wicked, right? Being the chief house of Esau, right? The chief tribe, the first of the nations. But as a whole, the whole house of Esau is being, taken down, okay? Because we're living in the end of his rulership, of his reign, as the angel told Ezra that Esau is the end of the world, okay? And you have these other nations because they imagine a vain thing, right? Particularly, China, and their allies. Even though you do have Russia, along with them, which are Edomites as well, but they're imagining that okay, they're going to have the next dominion, right? The next rulership, and
multipolar world, they said.
Yeah, multipolarization, which basically means instead of power being most of the world power, just being in the hands of Esau through America, that they're trying to build they're trying to transform the power structure to be given to multiple different nations. So that's why you have, what is known as the BRICS, conglomerate of nations, because they're really gathering together to form a different type of system that takes away the power from Babylon the Great. And that whole shift is going to accumulate into actual war, because you're not going to just shift power from one, from the hand of one superpower to the next, and it be something that is very easily done or a smooth transition. But the thing is that they're not considering is that transformation isn't going to go to another heathen, right? And the Lord has the the prophecies, right, and the prophets of old, the things that are written down, and he also has the prophets that are out on about highways and byways now that have woken up to profess what the actual transformation of power is going to be, which is going to be unto who? The house of Israel, right? The house of David, headed by YAHAWASHI, and that is where power is going to stay. The power is going to stay in the hand of Israel, and that's going to be the power for eternity. Okay, you got something? If you could get Actually,
I had
Sirach.
609, but what you need?
Yeah, get Sirach. What is that? 10 and 8. The kingdom is translated from one people to another, right? Because that's what they're talking about, right? When you look at world news and you look at what's going on a geopolitical scale, they're all talking about power, the dominion being translated from America and EU and the NATO to the Eastern powers, right? Or the Eastern hemisphere. So it's all about power. Even when you go into the scriptures, it's about power, right? Us being in captivity, we were subdued by a whole other nation of people, you know, and Christianity paints this picture that, oh, the enemy is, you know, spiritual demon Satan, which he is, but the physical counterpart is what is being played out on the earth by way of the nation of Esau, Edom. But you got it.
Okay, so this Ecclesiastes Sirach chapter 10 verse 8, and it reads, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
That's right. So because of so there's reasons why these kingdoms don't last, right? Even when you go back to the rulership of King Solomon, right? Although he started off righteous, he didn't end righteous, and because of that, his kingdom ended up falling apart. Ended up ending and then splitting. And then ever since that point, Israel's never been the same. You see? But the Lord already had promised King David that it would be that his son was going to have an everlasting rulership. But it wasn't, you know, in the form of Solomon, although it was that same spirit, it was in the form of who? YAHAWASHI, which is why YAHAWASHI, when he came on the earth, he said, what, a greater than Solomon is here. Because his kingdom will be a kingdom of righteousness. That is why he is known as Malak Tazadak, right? The king of righteousness.
And that's why he was born in the kingdom of tribe of Judah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Also, he said that his priesthood will be after the order of Melchizedek, and that's what Melchizedek means, Malak Tazadak, king of righteousness. See, so because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And a lot of these nations, they are really showcasing, right, the fact that the way that Esau does business is wickedly. You know, that's why there's the whole tariffs and all these things that is happening, right? The sanctions, all of the things that Esau is doing, and Trump is boasting in the fact that he's doing these things as if it's for, you know, as if it's something beneficial, but really he's not considering the latter end of it. Because we were talking about, you know, before how India, right? Because before Trump was speaking all highly of India, right? And Modi, I think that's the president.
Modi.
Yeah, he was speaking, oh, he's a friend, right? He's saying, you know, China was a friend, all these things. But now, yeah, Putin is a friend. But now you have him, I think today he just came out and basically he was talking shit about India and was saying how that, oh yeah, they trying to take the tariffs off, but it's too late. And a lot of time I was looking at the comments, a lot of people are looking at what Trump is saying is like, yo, he's lying. Like India was never going to take the tariffs off. And a lot of information that Trump is saying is not being actually confirmed by the other side.
Word. An example of that is the whole thing with the Japan. Trump was talking about that they made some kind of deal with Japan, but the motherfuckers from Japan said like we ain't agreed to no such thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's being showed that what he is he's lying, man. He's basically just talking out of his ass. And it's outside of America, a lot of people already see that, right? A lot of people outside of America see that what Trump is doing and saying is this a lot of hot air. But you have a lot of Americans that, you know, some of them are still blinded by it, which is really just a lot of Edomites really that are just want to hold on to their kingdom.
Fuck it.
Yeah. But then you got a lot of Edomites also that are seeing the downfall of this place. They're seeing how the decadency of America and how they're not, you know, being regarded and being respected on the world stage. And it's all due ultimately because that kingdom is being translated. But see, the thing is, once again, the translation isn't going to go from one heathen to another heathen. It's going to go from this last heathen, right? The last heathen to rule, which is Esau, oops, to who? To the nation of Israel, to YAHAWASHI and the elect. And there's nothing that Esau can do to stop this. Matter of fact, everything that he's doing is only just furthering, you know, his downfall.
Because if I may, because even with all the tariffs and all the shit that Trump doing, it's ousting America from the global structure. Like, and basically what I mean is, like, the other nations are now considered. What you think that meeting was about? Conspiring against America. You know what I'm saying? So like, one of the things about India and America they were saying is because they're buying oil from Russia instead of America. That was one of the main things. And like, you know, they're basically, these other nations are doing things so they don't have to deal with America at all. And America will have to actually fall into line with that system. But America, like you said, they're not going to fall. Their pride won't allow them to do that. That's why they keep picking and doing these tariffs on that, because they know these other countries want to still make money off of America, but Trump is basically making that very much more difficult to do.
Yep. And that's why in the book of Jeremiah, I got it pulled up, it speaks about how these nations will flee from Babylon, right? And that's literally, but also, you know, you can tie that into economically as well.
Yeah.
Because even India, they said that Indian tourism, right, dropped 8% this year. And India is not even the only country. A lot of countries, the tourism in America as a whole has fallen. A lot of countries, a lot of people from other countries are not, you know, they don't have a desire to come to America anymore. Jeremiah chapter 51, let's start at verse 4. It's so like in verse 5, it says, "For Israel has not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power, of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel." You know, and we are witnesses. We are the proof of the fact that the Yahawah Bashim Yahawashi has not forsaken us. You know, you brothers and sisters that have woken up to this truth, hey, you're the proof of this scripture, because we now know who we are. And that started, you know, that's ultimately because the Lord has given us the mercy to awaken us in this time, right? To call upon his name, give us his name back, right? And that's the key thing, us having the name of Yahawah Bashim Yahawashi once again to call upon. Because even when you go into all of the various different captivities that we were in, the Lord always delivered us because of what? Our ability to call upon his name.
To seek him out. Yeah.
To seek him out. See? So it's saying that the Lord Israel has not been forsaken. Well, that's the proof is we remember ourselves, as it says in the book of Baruch. Verse 6. "Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense." Okay, so this is the time. Going back to the title, right? This is the time of turmoil, right? The world is in a time of turmoil and transformation. The recompense and the vengeance of Yahawah Bashim Yahawashi upon Esau's age is going to bring in a time of turmoil. It's going to, Esau is going to go out horribly, right? It's going to go out. It's going to be a day of great disaster.
A reckoning.
Yep.
It'll be a reckoning.
And it says he will render unto her a recompense. Now, when you think, I think it's Yahawashi spoke about the kingdom of violence, a kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and a violent take it by force. But see, so when Esau took down us, it was violently, right? It wasn't, you know, a nice and, you know, yeah, it was just, nah, it was, you read about the time of the Greeks, right? Antiochus, when you read it in the Maccabean, right? The Maccabees, and you read about the time of
Columbus.
Say it again?
Christopher Columbus.
Oh yeah, Columbus, 70 AD. We know when they actually ransacked Jerusalem, it was always an horrific events, you know, tied to Esau coming down against Jacob. When you read Obadiah, right? Obadiah tells you, you know, how Esau dealt treacherously against Israel. So when when the Lord takes down Esau, and then ultimately also when he gives us the power to exact vengeance, a recompense, it's going to be violent against you devils, man. Ezekiel 25, you shall know the Lord's vengeance by the hand of my people Israel. Verse 7. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunk enough her wine, therefore the nations are mad. See? And how have they drunk enough her wine? They through the dealings, right? The trading, okay, being forced, you know, through military conquest, okay, you know, the taking of the resources, because America was set up and is set up as the nations or the world's, you know, superpower, the US dollar being a world currency. So nations, in order for them to have, you know, economic success, they had to deal with America, you know, through because America is the #1 consuming nation. So in order for nations to, you know, sell their goods and gain, you know, financial success, they had to sell to America. But in order for them to sell to America, they have to partake in its ideologies, partake in its ways of doing things. And that is and a lot of the things that they push is really detrimental, right? You know, the westernized culture, you know, when you look at it, is just full of a lot of wickedness. Okay, whether it be, you know, just the promiscuity of the women, okay, the
mo shit.
Say it again.
The mo shit.
Oh yeah, the sodomite shit. Okay, yeah, this the dynamic between man and wife, man and a woman.
Non-justice, like the you know what I'm saying, letting shit, a lot of abominable actions be okay to do.
Yeah, a lot of heathens come here and they're unrecognizable by the heathens that are in the actual land, because they become Americanized. You know, the women start to show skin, dress, like I said, dress provocatively, right? The men, they even though, you know, these heathens and their culture is vain, but they have their own culture. But when you have a heathen come to America, they leave off from their culture. They get drunk. And Israel's been saturated with the drunkenness of this world, of Esau.
We the first ones to drink it.
Yep. And it was by force. You see, these heathens, they come over here.
They get a piece.
Yeah, they actually benefit from drinking from the wine.
Get high above the stranger high above.
But it says what? The nations are mad, right? And that word mad goes in deranged. You see? Now that's why you got over in these other lands, China, right? You got a little New York. You got a lot of these other nations. They try to model their culture after the ways of America.
The way they dress.
Yep. How they dress, the type of music they listen to, right? The type of foods they eat, and all of it. But it actually it's a vile and it's a base way of life. And that is why here in America you see what they say what crime is at an all-time high. It's the murder capital of the world, right? The most people that are locked up, that are in prison.
Depression.
Anxiety, depression, obesity is at all-time, homelessness. This place, that's why I think the brother posted, thou art filled, dew of thy youth, Habakkuk 2:16, thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned into thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. And that's what you have. That's what you have happening right now. The glory that Esau thought he had is now full of shameful spewing, because the Lord lifted up that skirt.
It's being exposed.
Yep, it's being exposed for the harlot, for the whore, right? For the filthiness that it really is. And that's why you have these countries, these citizens of these other countries, they're not trying to come to America. And then on top of not trying to come to America, which takes a lot of money away, because tourism, right, that's foreign money coming into a land. Not only are they not coming here, but their actual countries are moving away from doing business here. So that takes even more money away. Verse 9, it says, we would have healed, verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even into the skies.
That verse is good in the
You want to say
NLT
something?
too. No, I'm saying that verse is good in the NLT as well.
Oh, okay, I'll read it. It says verse well, let me get the NLT. So Jeremiah 51:8. But Babylon too has fallen. Weep for her. Give her medicine. Perhaps she can be healed. And what is the medicine? That's what Trump is trying to do, right? Make America great again. You know, the tariffs, right? All of these things, but it's not working.
It's doing the opposite.
He came out with a Liberation Day in April, and saying, "Oh, America's going to be booming." All these things, but that's the opposite is happening, right? Inflation is still increasing, right? You're still having, you know, people are still, you know, penny pinching.
People are unhappy.
Yeah, people are unhappy. You know, housing, renting is still at an all-time high. So the healing medicine that they were saying was going to work, it's not working. Verse 9, we would have helped her if we could, but nothing can save her now. Let her go, abandon her. Return now to your own land, for her punishment reaches to the heavens. It is so great it cannot be measured.
Said nothing can heal her. That's the key. Nothing can heal her. Nothing. There's nothing. So what you terrorists and where the fuck Trump talking about, what you do the elites, whatever doing, is all to really just put this place more in the ground.
Yep. And once again, as we were saying, that this whole transformation that these other countries now are trying to do, right? The multipolar world that they're trying to create, that is only going to hurt America, because America's excluded from that. Because see, America they don't want it to be multipolar. They want to continue to be that hammer, right, of the earth. But these other nations, they're saying, look, we're strong as well now, right? You can't just bully China. You can't just bully Russia, right? And they got with Iran, right? If you try to bully Iran too much, they got their allies, which goes into prophecy, right? God shall be a guard unto her. So these nations are gathering themselves together to come against who? To come against America and its power and infrastructure and its hegemony. So that's going to be a clash. And that clash is going to lead into what? A actual physical war.
Right.
You had something?
Yeah, I just wanted, when you done, I just wanted this article. Done. All right, so this is from, it's funny because I did a video, I don't know if was that yesterday? I did a video using what you're reading about this meme because, you know, obviously it ties hand in hand. So this is yesterday, and this is China Z rolls out the red carpet for Putin and Modi as Trump upends global relations. This is from CNN World, and basically when you go into the word upend, it means basically like turn upside down or basically like ruin it. You know what I'm saying? So this is in Tianjin, China. If I'm pronouncing that right. It says autocrats, populists, friends and foes, a strong man waging a war in Europe, and the leader of the world's biggest democracy will all be hosted by Chinese leader Xi Jinping this weekend at a summit designed to showcase Beijing as a global leader capable of providing a counterweight to Western institutions. What does that sound like? Yo, they're going against America. They're saying like, yo, we're going to do something to where like, instead of dealing with America or Europe or whatever, you could deal with this. Let's go through two more paragraphs. So it says, head of state and delegations from across Asia and the Middle East will meet from Sunday, which is yesterday, in the Chinese port city of Tianjin for a 2-day summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, a regional security grouping that has emerged as a cornerstone of Xi and Russian President Vladimir Putin's drive to rebalance global power in their favor. Like the brother was saying it, but America wants to keep the global power in their favor. But Russia, China, and all these other countries, they're to put it in their favor. And it's going to work because they basically, and it's funny, that's how you know that Babylon the Great is so great, because they all have to come together, all these superpowers, but at the end of the day, they have what it takes. You know? Because they know America was the big dog, but it's like, yo, no, we a bunch of wild dogs over here. We could take out this one big dog.
And America is being stretched thin too, because they're over there down in the south trying to fight Venezuela. They're over there in the Pacific Ocean trying to defend Taiwan.
In the Red Sea.
They're in the Red Sea, you know, in the Mediterranean.
Helping Ukraine.
And they say they have exhausted, between the 48ers and Ukraine, they exhausted a lot of their own military might because they've been giving it away to these other nations.
Just make it bare. Yeah, it's a good point. Yep. It says Chinese officials have billed the summit as the SCO's largest yet, with diplomacy and pageantry setting the stage for Xi to tell his country as a stable and powerful alternative leader at a time when the world's when the world's leading superpower, the United States under President Donald Trump, is shaking up its alliances and waging a global trade war. Boom. It's saying basically Trump is bringing America down and making America not too cozy with the other global powers. That's not how they could last. And remember, America don't got that kind of leeway. They don't got that kind of weight to be poking their chest out like that.
Yep.
And that's what the brother's saying. Like, America is being brought down, but they still trying to make it seem like they so up, but it's not. And these tariffs, they're trying to. That's the medicine in the bomb that they're trying to like give to help it, but it's like nothing can heal this. It's terminal.
Yep. So what I did was I went to ChatGPT and I put the quote where China's president Xi Jinping said, "The world faces a time of turmoil and transformation." So I said, what did he mean by that? So it says, when Xi Jinping said the world faces a time of turmoil and transformation, he was likely pointing to two main ideas. Turmoil, the instability and uncertainty of global affairs right now.
Speaking of my way.
Right? So instability and uncertainty, that's not something, right, that sounds like it's a good thing. When you have instability and uncertainty in a financial, military, or as it says, global affairs, then that can only spell a disaster, because one side is one thing and another side wants another thing. And clearly, even with these whole ceasefire talks, when you can't come to an agreement, what happens? You just keep fighting. And that, with the whole shit that happened with Trump and Putin meeting in Alaska, nothing came of that.
Nothing. And
it's ultimately because what? We're in a time of war. So you can talk about peace and safety all you want, but as the scripture says, there's many devices in a man's heart, but it is the counsel of the Lord that shall stand. And we are here to profess the counsel of the Lord. See, we're not here to profess what Trump is saying and wants, or what Putin is saying and wants, because nobody wants to go to war. Nobody wants to go to nuclear destruction, but the Lord said He's gonna put it in their heart to fulfill His will. And this is why it says, "Let the Most High be true and every man a liar."
Right.
And we are professing the oracles of YAHAWASHI, because these things must come to pass.
The Lord said His counsel shall stand.
The
Lord said, "How ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It should be a day of a great destruction in the land." Roughly paraphrasing, that great destruction have to imply these nuclear missiles.
Yep.
Like, that's coming.
Yep. He said He created the waster to destroy. So these missiles, being created and being talked about, it's not even something that is just being created, have been created. Now they're being talked about, being used. Often. Right? World War III is being spoken about by political figures. Right? This is not nothing that you just see on the corner being spoken about by crazy guys right on the streets. Now this has reached, really, our message really has reached into the gates of the nobles, because now they're talking about what we've been talking about. We've been talking about wars coming, World War III, right? I believe, did you see that? Did you mention that where it said that France?
That's why I just put,
it up. That's the spirit. See, because it's the spirit of the Lord that is moving everything. Right? Proverbs, the 21st chapter. The heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, He turneth it soever He will. So you can't see the water in front, but the water is all moving in one direction. You don't have parts of the water going a different way, and that's how the earth, the things of the earth is going. It's all going in one direction, because it's being moved by the Spirit of the Lord. And we are professing it, the prophecy. The Lord said, "By measure has He measured the times, by number has He numbered the times, and it won't be stirred or moved till said measure is fulfilled."
On the plan.
Yep. And that's the beautiful thing about it, is because the Lord has given us, He said, "Blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear." He has allowed us to be able to see afar off, be able to see these things. Okay. Reading on, it says, Global, so it says, this can refer to geopolitical tensions, U.S.-China rivalry, Russia-Ukraine war, Taiwan issues, economic challenges, sluggish growth, inflation, supply chain disruption, social issues, polarization, migration, unrest in different regions, right? And that's one of the signs that the Lord said was going to be, right? When you shall see earthquakes. You just had a major earthquake over there in Afghanistan. There's been a bunch of earthquakes been happening within the last few weeks. Okay, you had that big one that happened in for the coast of Russia, but ever since then, there's been a lot of different earthquakes happening, right? Or in a region where they call it a ring of fire, where they're talking about volcanoes erupting. All of these are signs. You got signs in the heavens. You got certain space what do they call it, objects, that they're saying is not normal, is not moving like a typical comet would. They're saying that it's emitting a light from inside of the rock. So what could that could very well be a gigantic chariot. He said it was 12 miles long. Imagine a chariot 12 miles long.
Yeah.
And they said another one, it said it was half the size of the sun. You want to say something?
No, I would say going back to the earthquake joints. I don't know about the earthquake in Afghanistan, but if you remember, there was an earthquake in Iran as well, not too long ago, in Russia. And I want to say with both of those, I know with the Iranian one. Now I'm not saying this for sure, but I'm saying that this was said before. They said that Iran could have been testing a nuclear bomb.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
I don't know if that was for Russia as well, but that might have been said for Russia as well, like underground testing.
They mentioned that.
Yeah. Can't say for sure, but I just said throw that out there. And just saying with the time we're talking about, it would make sense. Or it would be feasible. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because it said beat your plowshares into swords.
Prepare.
Yeah, prepare war. Proclaim you this amongst the Gentiles. So the second part, it says transformation, the sense that the world order is shifting. You see, the world order is shifting. Now, remember when the whole emic started, you had a whole bunch of various different world leaders kept coming out and saying, oh, this is the new world order. This is the world or the new world order, X, Y, and Z. And it's because, as Klaus Schwab said, right, hey, this is a great reset, because they were trying to reset society basically into that image of everything being digital, while they still had, the control over, the movements and everything, that
the financial
the financial hold on the world. But while that was happening, you still had the de-dollarization. Okay, you had the BRICS nations doing trading, right, on their own, using their own currencies. And Esau see, Babylon, America, the American Edomite, right? They see these things, right? Babylon, they see that their power is waning, and this is why now they're trying to make a push to be the crypto, giant of the world, because all nations are going that way, right? The East and the West, they're all going toward digital currency. China's already basically there, right? Cashless societies. But America, because it still technically is, holds the world currency, they have this small window of opportunity to shift everybody, into this digital currency using their system.
Because you got to remember, these other countries don't want America destroyed. They just don't like the way America's moving, and the way the Lord is doing it is they're threatening America, but they still want America to be around because, like brother said earlier, like they all come here to get made rich. Like Russia, China, they still want to make money off America, but it's just that like the way it's going, and like Trump is just making that very difficult to where like we don't really particularly need America that much, but like hey,
yeah, you're basically you're now becoming more of a liability than an asset.
Yeah. Dude, sick horse.
So it says the sense that the world order is shifting, not just experiencing short-term problems. This can mean a move away from U.S.-led unipolar dominance, uni meaning one, toward a multipolar world with China, Russia, India, etc. playing larger roles. Now, this is the vain imagination that these heathens have, because they're not considering, right? They're forgetting one small detail. Yahawashi, right? Because remember, this world and the earth and everything in it is created for Yahawashi's sake, right? In Israel's sake. And that is why the Lord, when he speaks about that the strangeness of our salvation, nobody is considering that Israel, right? You so-called blacks, Latinos, and the poor of the earth, right, is going to inherit it. But that's exactly what Yahawashi said. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. When he talks about inheriting the earth, it's talking about the dominion of the earth, the order of the earth, right? Having, you know, the regal, right, being the nobles of the earth. And that's all going to be just Israel. So nobody, these other nations, they're not looking at, you know, us as being the next rulers. But that's going to show and magnify the power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi.
That's right.
When he takes the nobodies, right, and make them the top people on the earth.
Just like he did with the heathens.
Yep.
Just exactly. With ESAU especially.
Exactly. It says reordering of trade, finance, and global governance structures, BRICS expansion, alternatives to the dollar. So Xing is framing the current moment as both a crisis, turmoil, and an opportunity, transformation, a narrative that supports China's push to position itself as a leader in shaping the new world order.
There you go, new world order.
So if they're pushing along with Russia and its allies as the leaders of the new world order, but America is saying that what they're going to bring in a new world order, right, somebody going to have to give. And the only way that that's going to happen is going to be through a fight. And that's why the Lord, Yahawashi, said during this fight, he's going to return.
All y'all nothing but men.
Because that's how you take over a kingdom. Right?
Together.
Hey, let me get that real quick. I know you're holding something. Actually, can you get Revelation, if you don't mind? 19, verse 11.
19:11.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 19, verse 11, and it says, "And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war."
See? So it says, in righteousness doeth he judge and make war. Because these nations, they're going to go to war, but they're not going to war for a righteous reason. They're going to war because they want the dominion, right? They want to establish their dominance. So you got to think about, let's say, for instance, if China did become the next rulers, then everybody going to have to be in the culture of China. You're going to have to be the Red Dragon and the Chinese New Year's and monks, fucking worshiping Buddha.
Shaolin Temple.
Yeah. That's what the culture would be. Or then if they say, you know what, well, it'll just be us, and then we're going to add India with us and then Russia. So then there's going to be a whole bunch of just a heathen culture.
So
just say
Buddha, fucking Hindu, and fucking more Christianity. I don't know what Russia is, but like,
yeah, they got Orthodox Christianity.
Orthodox Christian kind.
Yeah, but it's more, yeah.
Orthodox Catholic and type shit.
And remember, all of these nations, they go to war, and then they talk about their gods, right? By our God, we will, achieve this, and that. So it's none of it is righteous, because none of them is actually giving the glory unto the one true God of heaven and earth. That's why it says in Psalms 96, all of the nations, gods are idols, but it is the Most High, Yahweh, that made it the heavens and earth.
Right.
You see? So that's why when Yahawashi comes, it says, in righteousness doeth he judge and make war.
God.
Yep. When you jump down to verse, you can jump down to verse 14, just to go to the point. Actually, you can read verse 12. You can read it down. Yeah.
Oops. Oh, sorry. Revelation 19. Back to that. You said read.
You can read verse 12.
Okay, so Revelation 19 and 12 says, "His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself." See, so it said on his head was many crowns, which represents what? All the dominions that he's going to take, because there ain't going to be no other kings. That's why, well, the only other kings is going to be the ones that he makes kings.
which are the elect, starting with the 144,000. But he ain't gonna have no kings of these other heathens. He's taking their dominion. There ain't gonna be no more BRIC summits. There ain't gonna be no more WEF summits. There ain't gonna be no United Nations,
G20s,
G7s, G8s, global summit meetings, world. It's not gonna be none of those, because those organizations and those summits, right? Which a summit is the top or the peak of a mountain. So when they call it a summit, right, they're actually saying that we're on the top of the governments, because a mountain represents a government. And a summit, when you look at an actual mountain, the summit of a mountain is the top of the mountain. So when they get together and they call it a summit, they're saying that we are the tops of all of the governments. So when the Lord comes, he's taking away all of the summits. He's taking away all of the top rulers of the nations, and they're going into slavery. Psalms of 149 put their kings into chains and their nobles into fetters of iron. Yeah, you could go on.
It says, and he was clothed with the vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the word of YAHAWASHI. Verse 14, it says, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
See? So the armies which were in heaven, this is the real transformation. This is the actual, the transformation that the earth is about to witness.
The turmoil and transformation.
The turmoil, yep. Because the day of the Lord is dark and not light. Thick darkness and clouds, gloominess. Yep. So that's going to be a lot of turmoil. But it's going to be turmoil to bring in a transformation of what? As Peter said, of a new heaven and new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. And this is what we are professing. This is our gospel, is about the King Lord YAHAWASHI coming to set up a kingdom on earth that is full of righteousness. And then these damn demons is going to be put down. She got a wig on. Last verse.
They probably do that shit though to fit the prophecy.
Yeah, yep. But you see, that all they inherited lies, because they actually probably believe that they are the real people.
Yeah, they don't look that old.
These heathens inheriting lies too.
Yeah, all did.
They all don't. They don't. A lot of these heathens, they don't know who they go back to.
Especially ones that's in America.
Definitely, and they don't even care. They want to be American.
Right. We always talk about, if I may, we always talk about like a lot of these heathens we're seeing kind of older, but there's a lot of heathens here that have probably been like those totally disassociated from their mainland, because now you have like second to third generations here now. So like they're like completely Americanized.
Yep. Because a lot of these heathens, man, they were created to be servants. Hey, the Lord said He created, ask of me, and I should give thee the heathen for that inheritance. They're the number one resource. Human resource. Go ahead.
Verse 15 now. It says, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he should rule them with the rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty God.
There you go. So that's the turmoil that's coming, right? And it says that he's going to smite the nations. That's something that the pastor don't preach. But see, this is why the Lord said in the latter day, right? He said his apostles last, to give you the full understanding of what is being spoken about. That is why when the disciples asked YAHAWASHI, will you at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? It wasn't going to be, it was a restoration of the kingdom to Israel. That's it. And that way that restoration was going to come was going to be by way of the Lord smiting and taking down these other nations. And that, Salakia, I was saying that theme is all throughout the scriptures from the beginning to the end. You got that.
No, I was just thinking of something. I just spoke something, but I wasn't trying to say that.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So the Lord said he's going to rule them with a rod of iron. And also he said he's going to give that rod of iron also to us to rule as joint heirs with the Lord. And the thing is, see, but these nations, they're looking at their own ability to bring in the transformation, right? They're looking at coming together and doing bilateral agreements and trading.
Their might.
Their might. You got China, they're doing their military parade tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
right? These other nations, they boast in their military might. We're not boasting in anything physically, right? That's why it says, let not the mighty man boast in his might, or the rich man in his riches, right? Or the wise man in his wisdom. But if you're going to boast in this, that you know Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahushua,
and understand him,
and understand his judgment. And that's what we're boasting in. We're not boasting in anything. We don't have any might to boast in. We don't have any riches to boast in. We got wisdom, but we're not a wisdom according to this world. We got the hidden wisdom, which most of this world looks at as foolish. If we talk about the wisdom that we're speaking, majority of this world will say that, yeah, you guys are idiots. You guys are dumb.
you're wasting your time.
You're wasting your time, right? Hey, I said that in Wisdom of Solomon in the 5th chapter, right? We had them in sometime in derision. We counted their life as madness. See? But we boast in the fact that we know, right, Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahushua, and we're known of Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahushua. And that is what's going to give us, right, that dominion. Daniel the 7th chapter. Would you have something?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, since we're speaking about what Yahushua about to do, this is one of my personal favorites. I'm gonna go straight to the point. So this is Isaiah chapter 52, verse 15. But I'm reading NLT, and it says, "And he will startle many nations; kings will stand speechless in his presence, for they will see what they had not been told; they will understand what they had not heard about." Now it goes back to what you were saying a little earlier about how the nation's not really thinking about Yahawashi, because like they're thinking about, oh, like we're gonna make a multipolar kingdom, or we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and we're gonna. But they're not thinking about they're about to have to fight a whole nother army from a whole nother stratosphere. If that word is even
realm,
realm.
And the scripture says that one realm against another.
You know what I'm saying? It says, and you see how a lot of these nations, that a lot of the artillery and the military is in the air.
Yep.
A lot of the area, like the drones and the air, a lot of shit's in the air. Even with the submarines, they're gonna shoot things in the air from these submarines where they're placed. Now, of course, they're gonna have invasion boots on the ground too. But a lot of the nation's armies, might is in the air.
Yeah, they say that if you have whoever has a superior air force has a superior army. And that's why when you read in Revelation 12, it talked about the war in heaven, right? It wasn't speaking about in the spiritual world, but it was speaking about in the actual in the sky. and Satan and the dragon, it says dragon and his angels fought against Michael. Right? What is the dragon? It's the empire, the system, or the structure of ESAU. And then you're going to have these other nations that are going to join in with that. Because just like how Ronald Reagan said, what if we had he looked like Ronald Reagan. He said, what if we had we were threatened by an outside force? Would we not all stop, in fighting in our differences and come together and fight, to try to stop this outside force?
So he just said second Edge 13 real quick.
And that's because he knew. He got really privy to it.
He just said
and that's exactly what's going to happen. Word. But the thing is, the Lord is setting that up. This was already preordained. This was something that was, and it's all to do what? To show the power of the Lord. Just like how he raised up Pharaoh. He said, I will shake the heaven. I will shake not the earth, but the heavens also once more. And it's all to do what? To show the majesty and the might of the one and only true living God.
Hey, you know what year he said that? Reagan said that with the...
But I can find out.
I forget when he was president.
If somebody want to look it up, what year Reagan said that, you can put it on a comment board.
And that's not something that's spoke about a lot either. But that's a major statement to make that's just not talked about. Especially now. Yeah. Like that should be something like, oh, didn't Reagan say this?
But once again, a lot of people, they don't look into things. They don't consider things, right? They're just looking, even people that we know, so they're just in my bubble. I just want to just care about what's going on in my 5 square mile radius of life.
Yeah. That's all that matters.
Yep. But that's why the Lord said that day is going to come upon him as a thief. And the cares of this world, right? The cares of this life, be not overcharged with it. So that day doesn't overtake you as a thief. But hey, people rather be overcharged with the cares of this world, thinking that, if I don't pay attention to it, it won't happen. Going back to what ChatGPT said, so it says, they asked me, do you want me to break down what the message he was sending to the West versus what he was telling the global South. So it says the message to the West, especially U.S. and its allies, decline of, and it's always interesting how brother posted it. It says Ronald Reagan made a speech mentioning extraterrestrial threat in 1987 during an address to the United Nations General Assembly.
Interesting.
His exact words were, in our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all of the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. Now, it's very interesting how now you have these Congress be having these assemblies talking about UFOs, UAPs, right? Whether or not there is a life outside of the Earth. Now they try to make it seem like it's something that is, some little green alien men, but they actually, they know, maybe not all of them, but majority of them know that this, because even Tucker Carlson be talking about it. Oh, it may be something spiritual, right? Well, he says something, he said it could be demonic forces, but to them, right, it would be demonic, because YAHAWASHI means what? Demon-like power. It's going to be a demon to you, right? Shadia means terrorizer. So yeah, the Lord, when he comes back with the host of armies, as we read in Revelation, the armies of heaven, they're going to terrorize you. That's why they make, why do you think whenever they make movies of some alien invasion, it's never peace, it's never a good thing.
So it's a battle.
Independence Day, War of the Worlds, right?
The
Data Officer still. It's always an invasion, and it's a adversary.
They feel it's trouble.
Yep.
You said Independence Day?
Yeah, I said yep. It's always a troublesome when they come, because it is going to be it's going to be the end of your world.
For you.
So it says decline of Western dominance. He's suggesting that U.S.-led order is unstable, failing to solve crises and losing legitimacy. Babylon is falling.
It is falling.
And the nation see it. It's losing its legitimacy. So it's like what they say, a shark smelling blood in the water, right? Or if a pack of wolves, they see that the leader isn't, as strong as it once was, what does it do? One young wolf steps up and say, "Yo, I want to challenge you."
Clock running down in the game, about to be that fourth game.
It ain't gonna just sit there and like, you know what, even though you weak, we're gonna still follow you. Nah. And that's why they talk about a lot of times why Trump, why he boasted so much, is actually a sign of weakness. The fact that they gotta always come out and say, America, we're booming, we're hot again, we're doing this, and that, is actually showing you a sign of weakness.
False insecurity.
Yep.
It's kind of keep reassuring, trying to reassure the people.
And the zombies of America, they're buying it up. But some of, like I said, but a lot is not also buying it up.
They see they research it too,
and they're seeing, they're feeling it. They're feeling. You can say one thing, but if it's not matching your experience, then what you're saying don't matter.
I'm gonna say, like, America is basically at that point now where you're at the end of the competition, and like the clock is running down. It's about to hit the 0-0, but these motherfuckers still trying to play.
Yep.
That's what America's still trying to bounce the ball, but it's like, we've been won. Like, it's just over for you.
Gone. Hey, the brother posted another good one. Isaiah 14 verse 9. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their throne all the kings of the nations. Yeah, so hell, right, which is where he's sitting in the dust, O daughter of Babylon, there is no throne. See? So the hell is raised up to meet you. And we are continuously, chanting down this place, And the things that America, Babylon the Great is doing is continuously just bringing it closer and closer to the dust.
That's right.
So reading on, it says, warning against confrontation. By framing the world as turbulent, he implies that U.S. containment policies, trade wars, alliances, sanctions are contributing to chaos. Right? And when you go into 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, actually, so I know you said you had it, but I wanted to read it in this other version, because it tells you that this is a part of the signs that the Lord was going to show, right? To show that he's visiting the earth. 2nd Ezra 9 verse 1. I'm gonna read it in the, what is this? The NRSA. It says, and he answered me and said, measure carefully in your mind, and when you see that some of the prediction signs have occurred, then you will know that it is the very same time the Most High is about to visit the world which the world that he has made. See, so this is why you got to constantly keep these things in the forefront of your mind, right? You have to constantly watch, right? YAHAWASHI spoke about watching and praying, right? Peter said to watch and be sober, be vigilant, all right? Because that's what keeps us going, right? And that's what keeps us stable, is the fact that we are seeing these things, that we're watching for these things. These people in this world, you see people walking by, they don't even have a clue, right, about what we're talking about. And that's why, although we're in the same world, same vicinity, same country that they're in, but their whole mindset is different, right? They're focused on, hey, what Kanye said, you worry about the wrong things. The things that you should be worried about, you're not paying attention to.
Definitely like Ronald Reagan.
So when it happens, it's going to hit them like a fastball in the face, man. And the thing is, you're not going to be able to ignore it, because when it actually takes place, you're going to be caught up in it.
Right, you win it.
And there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to run.
And it's funny, brother, because like, they already in it. They're just gonna understand it in it. It's like your whole perception is gonna change now.
Yeah, and it's not gonna go back to before.
The dumb state.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to go back to sleep. It's like when you get woken up very badly, you kind of like, all of the melatonin's out of your system. You're like, I can't even go back to sleep now. And that's what and that's what's gonna happen to these people. You're not gonna be able to go back to sleep, go back into your your fairy tale world, your rose-colored glasses world.
Because all that shit gonna be, all the distraction, all that shit's gonna be over.
Yeah,
no more TV.
Yep. You gonna have to deal with the plagues. You have to deal with the famine. You have to deal with the chaos,
said perils,
the instability. You have to deal with all of that.
The perils, man, the tribulation.
It says, verse 3. So when there shall appear in the world earthquakes, tumult of peoples, intrigues of nations, wavering of leaders, confusion of princes, then, which is rulers, then you will know that it was of these that the Most High spoke from the days that were old, from the beginning. Okay, so when you see these events and these things happening, those are the signs that let you know that what? These are the times where the Lord is visiting the earth. And the visitation of the earth isn't a visitation of the world, of the Lord to the world, isn't, you know, just a quick, you know, event.
Not passing by. It's here to stay. You're gonna be here to stay.
Once again, it's a transformation, right? So the Lord is starting the transformation, and it's not going to stop until the day of the Lord, and that is going to be the final part of the transformation. And then we're going to be transformed, and then that's when it's going. That's when your new world leaders are. That's going to be the true new world order. Verse 5, it says, "For just as with everything that has occurred in the world, the beginning is evident and the end is manifest, so also are the times of the Most High." Right? So the end is manifest, and we can clearly see it, man. And that's, once again, that's a blessing that the Lord has given us, the ability to see that the end is manifest. For everybody that's in the know, right? Everybody that's tapped into the Spirit of the Lord, you know, that's why Paul said, you have no need, brethren, that are right unto you. Because you see what's going on. You have anything?
Nah.
All right, so yeah, we did about an hour. I didn't want to do too much longer. So yeah, you know, we just wanted to touch on something real quick. Like I said, right, the turmoil world is facing turmoil and transformation, right? And it's going to get rocky, right? It's going to get, you know, that straight gate is going to get straighter. But, you know, and we have the hope of salvation, right? We have the hope that, hey, if we continue to endure, hey, the Lord will provide for us, right? Because you have kept the word of our patience, I will keep you from the hour of temptation. You know, and that's something that for us, you got to always, you know, keep in mind, because we kept it, you know, we kept the faith, we kept enduring. So don't give up hope, don't get weak, right? Don't get faint-hearted, right? And understand that we're living in the times where the Lord is about to actually manifest his power in us. Actually, I got one more.
Make major moves.
One more. One of my favorite.
It's a major move right here, baby.
You either got to get with it or get lost. Hey, a lot of people gonna get lost.
Saying most people are.
Yep.
It said those that loathe the law. That's a second Esdras 9. Like those that loathe the law, but it said the ones that believe should be protected from the said perils. They're gonna be protected. That's words. That's words of assurance, not what Trump is saying. Those scriptures. That's for us. See, there's other nations, Edomites, they don't have that. That's why they gotta have puppets like Trump and all these type motherfuckers to say this bullshit. They're political. Well, I don't really know about the other Edomite countries because they tell them to get ready for war.
Yeah.
You got friends talking about telling the hospitals get ready for the next year to get ready for hundreds of injured soldiers.
Oh yeah, that's what you was going to bring up. But yeah, you basically said it.
I do one definitely myself.
You gonna hold that? You gonna take that?
No, but I'm saying, but if we're not together, yeah.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 17. It says, "For when men will not believe that thou art of a full power, thou showest thy strength, and among them that know it, thou makest their boldness manifest." So that's what the Lord said. Because right now, people don't believe the Lord is of a full power. That's why people are going to take that charagma. That's why people are all into the AI, uprising movement, because they're not looking into the Lord for salvation, right? For miracles to be done, right? They're looking at technology, right? The technocracy to give them their sight back, right? To give them the ability to walk, right? To do all of these wonders, these false miracles. But the Lord still has that remnant. That's why, hey, the remnant of Jacob is vital, man. The scriptures the Lord always spoke about the remnant, the seed of Jacob, that he will not cast off Israel forever. And it's because of the remnant that even while the majority of this world, the majority of Israel, his own people, don't believe that the Lord is of a full power. But it's going to be at that point, at that time, where the Lord's going to show his strength.
Right.
And he said what? And he's going to do what? And among them that know it, we are the ones that know it. He's going to make our boldness manifest. And that's Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, that righteous man shall stand in great boldness. You know, so we'll close it out with that. Lord willing, this is edifying unto the elect, giving all praises to Yahawah, Ba'ashem, YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashem, Kadash. Until next time, Shalom, Watawada to you brothers that was posting. Shalom, Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Ba'ashem, Ba'ashem.